everyone, welcome back to this channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. My name is Nikki. How are you guys doing? As always, let me know in the comments down below. So first I want to start this video by saying a massive thank you to anyone who actually made it through my megasode last week. So last week, if you haven't seen it, I put out my longest video yet because it turned out to be a 50 minute video of me going through my yarn stash, and I knew I had a lot of yarn. Didn't quite know how much yarn I had, and bear in mind this 50-minute video is edited, so you don't even have the outtakes where I started recording, realised I was missing half my boxes, had to go and grab them, had to put my yarn into some sort of order to be able to talk about it, was swimming through yarn in my living room at one point. So yes, but because it was 50 minutes long, I didn't actually get to chat to you guys about why I was doing that video. So that's what I'm going to start with today. Basically, I wanted to see how much yarn I had, and I wanted to review how much yarn I had because I want to start making a bit of a dent in it. So I'm not going to go stashless. I do like having a stash, so difference between US and the UK culture here is that if you see a project in the US and you don't have the yarn for it, you could hop in the car, go to the store, and there would be a massive shop where loads of yarn is being sold, and you could almost certainly find yarn that you could do your project with. That's not how it is in the UK. So assuming you haven't found a local yarn shop in the UK, you are dependent on the very limited supply, like 3 or 4 colours that you could pick up in a Poundland or a B&M or a Wilkinson's, or you are dependent on whether a shop like Aldi, which is a supermarket, but the only supermarket to my knowledge that does this, sells yarn seasonally. So you are dependent on what colours they have at the time, you're dependent on whether someone's already bought it, and you're dependent on whether they even have it in stock in the first place. So, and then even if you have found a little yarn shop in your area, it is a little shop. It's not going to be a supermarket sized shop. It's going to be a couple of aisles, you know, it's going to be a small like corner shop kind of deal that's been converted into a yarn store. You obviously could buy things online, but you can't see what you're getting online beforehand. So unless you know that it's what you want, you're a bit dependent on that. I like to have my stash on display. So when I see my project, I can pick yarn off the shelf, pair it with other yarn, and just get on with my project. So that is why I'm not going to go stashless. However, I do also buy yarn when I see it if I have a project in mind. So if I see yarn in a store and I immediately can picture what I want to do with it, I've picked it up before. And this is good because it means that you know you're going to actually use the yarn. But I was going through my stash for that video and realising how much yarn I'd bought for a project that I have not had the time to do, and realised that I've got more yarn coming in than I have projects going out. So that is a problem. And of course, 2 days after I put out that video, some more yarn followed me home. I went to the Aldi and they happened to have a new bunch of yarn in stock. Of course they did, it's just typical. Right after I'd reviewed my stash, the Aldi came back in stock with yarn, even though it's not been in the shop for months. Typical. I saw this and it was one of those times where I instantly thought of a project that I was going to do with this, and I actually kind of want to make cushions with it. So at the moment I've got a lot of wine and burgundy kind of tones that I've made cushions with, that I have blanket in, and those are obviously like slightly more on the redder side of things when it comes to a purple-ish tone. And then I've got my Caron & Pantone cushion, which, despite being the most expensive cushion I ever made, doesn't really come out very much because it's a very springy, summery colourway. It's, you know, it's purples that are more lilac and some that are sort of like a bluebell kind of dusky blue purple kind of tone. And that doesn't really go with the burgundies and the wine so much. So enter these guys, which are a nice sort of purple. I've already measured it up against my burgundies and my wines and it looks lovely. measured up against the cushion, the Karen Pantone cushion, also looks lovely. So by the time I've threaded some of the scraps from the Karen Pantone into this cushion design, it's gonna just like help merge it all together, so that I can have them all out on display at once, which is really good, because when you make something, you don't want to just stick it in a cupboard. That's not what you made it for. So I did buy it. It's the first yarn I bought in 2021 because we've been back in a more strict lockdown, and like I say, that means yarn stores have pretty much been closed. Aldi has been open because it's a food shop, but it hasn't had anything in stock until now. So this is the first yarn I've bought in 2021, but I'm hoping it's going to be actually some of the only yarn I buy in 2021, because like I say, I want to make that dint in my stash. I do have some things in my stash where I've taken a ball out of a particular bag and I've put it on a different pile and said, this is a project it's going to be. And I've looked at that and I've gone, I'm definitely going to need to buy more yarn in bulk for that project at some point. But right now, I just want to save money later by adding to it what I already have for that project. So that is yarn that's not going to get used. Probably not this year either, because like I say, I would have to go and buy some in bulk. Don't want to do that just yet. But still going to keep that yarn to one side ready for that project. For the ones where I've got all the yarn, those are ones I need to get through. And the problem with that is that for the moment, there's a couple of things blocking me from doing that. So one is I still haven't finished the giraffe toy, the one from my collection. I finished the gift. So yeah, my giraffe still doesn't have limbs. That's actually a really small project. I could do that in like an evening, but I just for some reason haven't picked that up to do. I've also got the red cardigan jumper, which has been taken apart multiple times and redone multiple times, but still needs the collar taking off and that redoing again. That's going to be a bit more effort, and I have to sort of psych myself up for that one. But I want to get that done. I want to get that sorted now. Crochet jumper, navy and magenta crochet jumper. That one is gonna need a lot more headspace to do, because I'm probably gonna have to pull that all back, start all over again with that one. Hope that I have enough yarn, because I'll obviously be like, I've already cut the yarn to the size that I was making previously. It's way too big, so I'm gonna end up with a lot of scraps probably from that, which is really annoying, but I'm gonna have to address that at some point. I think that one's probably not gonna be done before I start other projects, but if I can get the giraffe and I can get the cardigan out of the way, I can afford to leave that one. Fourth project is one that I'm working on right now and I'm really happy with, and I do want to get that one finished because it's looking great. And if I can get, like I say, if I can get this fourth one done, which I'm going to show you in a minute, red cardigan done, giraffe done, I can afford to leave the other jumper and start on some new projects with the yarn and make my dent as planned. So what's happening at the moment is I'm using yarn that I acquired in Christmas 2019. Plus yarn I found that was such a good match for it that I bought some so that I had extra. Really glad I did, because it's a cable jumper and it uses more yarn because of that. So you guys will have seen, if you've seen some of my older videos, this before, but it is much further along. So I've got the front and the back panels of my jumper here on the same cable so that I can put it over my head and measure it. If I just try and line this up right. So there's the sort of the front bit, that's going to be the neckline. So I've still got to add the neckline, but that is for when it's all sort of sewn together and ready. It's this lovely pattern, lovely sort of neutrally grey beige. It's not like completely grey, it's very light with these flecks of black. There's some flecks of dark grey and some, not many, but some sort of browny greys in there too. It works so well with this cable pattern. It really lets the pattern speak for itself. I'm absolutely loving this stitch here. So I didn't know what this stitch was. I was just following the pattern, and then I saw, I think it was like on someone else's YouTube video, like a tutorial for how to do the moss stitch, and I recognised this pattern. I was like, this is moss stitch, and got really excited. So yeah, this is really lovely. And the thing is that if you've got all this intricate cabling down the middle, you don't want something really busy at the side to distract from the centerpiece. But you also don't want something really plain, because if this was really plain and this was really detailed, it would clash so much. And I actually have seen on a store-bought jumper that I have, the same moss stitch pattern down the side and some cabling down the middle, and it has the, you know, it has the same effect. It allows the cabling to take center place without being distracting because it's too much of a clash with the side there. So it's a lovely, lovely texture. Really glad that I've learned how to do that. So that is the front and the back. Just fold that up. And of course that means that I have been able to start on the sleeves. So with this whole pattern, I haven't known whether to trust the pattern completely or whether to make my own edits, because bear in mind I have yet to make a successful jumper. But I have no intention of remaking this jumper because the cabling is a lot of work. So first thing I did where I did tweak was just length. So on that jumper, I think I should have had like several inches more length before I started the raglan for the sleeves. I've now tried this on and I'm really glad that I didn't add the extra length, and I could maybe have gotten away with not adding as much as I did. This is something I have with jumpers. I think when they scale the size up, sometimes they scale the length a lot more, and I'm not a bigger size because I'm a taller person. I'm a bigger size because I'm a little bit wider. So for me, it wouldn't have worked with all that extra length. I'm really glad that I did cut that off, but I trusted the pattern in every other way. When I got to the sleeves, I was also really concerned because I've done sleeve patterns in the past where I've just ended up with like massive wings of fabric. And so I didn't know what was going to go down with this one. Also, this one was, this had 6 sizes, and for my size, it finished with like 90 stitches before you start shaping the sleeve. And others were like 60 and 70, and I was like, what? Even the sizes that were bigger actually were only 60 or 70, and I just could not comprehend this. And then I read a little bit further in the pattern and saw that actually all these other sizes have these extra edits that you do before you start the sleeve raglan. So yeah, I was like, okay, right, now I understand. And when you look at how many stitches they end up getting to, it was more even, and I was like, okay, right, I'm just going to trust the pattern then. It seems like it's okay. So I trusted the pattern, and I'm so glad that I have, because this is basically like the best sleeve that I've ever found. So I'm just going to try and pinch it together a little bit here. Okay, so you can see that there's my arm. There's a bit of fabric there left, but bear in mind that once I've seamed that, that's going to be just enough to give me some room and not be too tight, but there's absolutely no draping fabric there. And so I'm really happy with how this is coming along. This lovely cable pattern up the arm as well, lovely and warm. So yeah, I actually think that if I ever see a jumper in future, I'm going to be like subconsciously comparing its sleeve pattern to this one because of how well this one's going. So yeah, really happy with that. Obviously I'm only partway through the first sleeve, so I've still got a lot of effort to go. I think this jumper has taken me a while. I don't know if I'm a fast knitter or not, but I did have to take a break partway through doing the front and the back panels and then finishing those and starting the sleeves. So yeah, I think maybe overall this was probably like a month's worth of work alongside a job, maybe, for me. But cabling is also new for me, so maybe I'm going slower there as well. But you know, it's has been worth it. I really am loving how that jumper is coming out. Can't wait to finish it and wear it. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic about my plans to do projects more and work through my yarn, but I'm also like, just I need the time. I need the time to do it. I'm so eager. I want to be starting all these things, and it's like, no, you've got these 4 projects that you need to actually finish before you start more. So yes, I think definitely having 3 jumpers on the go at once is a bad idea, because they're a lot of work, and if you just want those like quick results, something like what the giraffe toy would do, then yeah, you need to have a, I think, for me, you might be different, let me know in the comments, but I think I like to have a mix of projects on the go and not just 3 jumpers. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for today because I don't want this to be a super long video after last week's. But yeah, thank you again for watching that video, and hopefully you've enjoyed this one, and hopefully I will see you again for another video soon. Bye.